Today we're going to be previewing the Chicago Bears for the 2025 season. Before we get into the video, make sure to leave a like if you enjoy, and if you're new, hit the subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you subscribe, let me know in the comment section below that you subscribed, and I'll make sure to reply. But let's get into this Bears preview. So first, looking at their additions and losses, you see a lot of players as pieces they've added, but I think the most important piece to talk about is Ben Johnson, the coach they brought in, former Detroit Lions offensive coordinator, had a lot of success in Detroit over the last few seasons, and now is the head coach of their division rival, the Bears. We saw in Detroit he loved to run the ball. The Lions had obviously one of the best running back duos in the league with Gibbs and Montgomery, but they ran the ball a lot. They had a lot of wide zone scheme, if I'm not mistaken. And that used a lot of athletic linemen, mainly led by Penei Sewell on the Lions. And in this team, they obviously brought in a lot of additions, mainly on that O-line, like Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, Andrew Dalman. Dalman and Thuney have that sort of athleticism and that mobility from a lineman that you want to sort of run that wide zone. So I feel like they could carry that over a little bit. Now, they don't have the running back room that the Lions had. We'll get into that later. But offensive line-wise, I think Ben Johnson can have that same run-heavy, wide zone run scheme in Detroit, which could help, or in Chicago, which could ultimately help with Caleb Williams and his improvement from his rookie year, which honestly wasn't as bad as it seemed. He had, considering the circumstances, he had a very, very good rookie year. Still made a lot of crazy throws that you saw him make in college. Continuing down the list of additions, 3 rookies that come to mind, or that are at least projected to start or play a lot based on like initial unofficial depth charts, are Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, and Shamar Turner. Colston Loveland, their first-round pick from Michigan, very athletic pass-catching tight end. He can be, I think he's like a size mismatch. Like, he can outrun linebackers, but he's also bigger than DBs. Like, he has that athleticism to get past linebackers at the tight end position. And you can kind of see a little bit of like Sam Laporta, which is another similarity to Ben Johnson's time in Detroit. And I think they can use him in similar ways. And I think that also Ben Johnson likes his double tight ends. So I don't think Cole Kmet's going anywhere in this offense. I think him and Loveland can coexist with each other. And I think you'll get a lot of opportunities for both. Maybe Loveland ends up taking over because they spent such a high draft pick on him. But I expect both to be involved in the offense. Luther Burden, the highly touted receiver early in his collegiate career when he went to Missouri, did not have maybe the best season in Missouri, and he definitely fell down draft boards a little bit. He was a guy that could easily be seen as a first-round talent. He's just such how natural he is as a receiver and how he can separate and run routes. He just didn't get drafted as high, and the Bears got him in the second, which I thought was a steal because you lose Keenan Allen with one of their losses, and I think he can be that replacement as that sort of slot guy next to DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. And then Shamar Turner, they got him out of Texas A&M. Smaller D tackle for sure, but he has that sort of quickness and athleticism at that size to sort of get off the snap quickly and do all those things. So he may not be the power bull rusher, but you bring that sort of bigger D tackle in Grady Jarrett, another one of their additions, and I think they can complement each other well. And the D tackle they lost is Byron Cowart. Didn't, not super productive, but he played a lot for them. So I think Grady Jarrett and Shamar Turner are a big upgrade at that D tackle position. And I think Grady Jarrett can be a good mentor for Shamar Turner. And then the other 2 additions, Devin Duvernay, mainly played for Baltimore, played at Jacksonville last year. He's their only like small contract they got. They gave guys like Dalman, Thuney, Jarrett, and Odiengbo pretty big or at least long-term contracts. Jarrett might not have got paid as much because he's on the older side, but the other three got paid big money and for long-term deals. Devin Duvernay, I think, is just like a one-year deal. Wasn't super productive in Jacksonville, but he's had success in Baltimore before, so he can just be a solid depth piece for them. And then Dayo Odeyingbo, who they bring in from Indianapolis, very solid young player. He's like only 25 years old. He's had a decent start to his season. He's gotten, I think, 8 sacks one year. He's played in most of his games as well, so he's been relatively healthy, and I think he could really develop here in Chicago. And when you look at their losses compared to their additions, I think they upgraded massively. I mean, Keenan Allen maybe is better than Luther Burden, but in 2 years, I think Luther Burden maybe can surpass him. Larry Borum and Tevin Jenkins, while okay linemen, you saw how bad their O-line was last year. Caleb Williams was running for his life. I think he got sacked the most by any quarterback, so clearly you needed an upgrade on the O-line, and I think Tooney, Jackson, and Dahlman are clear upgrades. Darrell Taylor, Jacob Martin, DeMarcus Walker are all like pass rusher, D lineman type guys that all, honestly, really didn't really do a ton. They were solid for the Bears last year. They played a decent amount of games, which is why they're on here. But I think when you add Jarrett, Turner, Odeyingbo, I think those are upgrades over those three guys. So I think, I mean, a lot of people have said the Bears have been one of the biggest offseason winners, and I think when looking at starters they lost and guys they brought in that will probably start, it's pretty clear that they did make a ton of big upgrades in the offseason. Looking at their offense, firstly, their offense was pretty bad last year in terms of like points scored, towards the bottom of the league. But I think that can pretty much chalk up to not the best coaching, really bad O-line, and a rookie quarterback. While Caleb Williams did play well for the situation around him, he still was a rookie and he still made rookie mistakes. And you can kind of see why the offense was bad, but I think it's going to take a massive step in this season, mainly with the O-line, with Tooney, with Dahlman, with Jonah Jackson. You still have Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones, two guys, at least Darnell Wright, you spent a first-round pick on 2 years ago. Braxton Jones, later pick, but he's really played well. That's a very good O-line, in my opinion. And if you could keep Caleb Williams upright and give him time to throw to his numerous of weapons, with a good coach like Ben Johnson, I think this could be a very successful offensive season for the Bears. I mean, looking at these weapons, we talked about Colston Loveland already, their rookie out of Michigan. Cole Kmet's just been a solid tight end for him. Nothing like too crazy, but he's been up there, like above average, or not above average, like a top half of the league tight end. You have DJ Moore. You know what you're going to get out of DJ Moore. He's their clear number one target. You traded the first pick away in 2023 in the Bryce Young trade. One of the pieces you got in there was DJ Moore. He's been so good for the Bears. Roma Dunze, I expect a big leap out of Roma Dunze, because he was kind of the third guy because he had Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, but now he's that second guy, and I think him and Caleb Williams, I think you could see their connection and how, like, not just on the field but off the field and just in general, like, I think you really can see their connection grow during the season, during a tumultuous season, now during a potentially more easy and more successful season. I think statistically they could have very good years, Caleb and Roman Dunze. DeAndre Swift, I mean, not his best season, not the best, in terms of like yards per carry. But I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, he did pick it up sort of towards the end of the year and you really saw improvement. I mean, when you go from the Eagles O-line to the Bears O-line last year, you're just not going to see the same statistical numbers. But with this improved O-line, with a run-heavy scheme possibly with Ben Johnson, I do think DeAndre Swift could go back towards what you saw him do in Philly. He had a stretch last year with the Bears. It might not have been end of year. It might have been more in the middle of the season where he was very good. And then their backups, running backs, I mean, you got Roshan Johnson coming out of Texas. And then Kyle Monangai, I think out of Rutgers. He was a 7th-round pick, but I really like him, and I think he could potentially surpass Roshan Johnson as that second running back. And then other receivers, I mean, Devin Duvernay we talked about, just a solid, okay, rotational depth receiver. Tyler Scott, he's giving you something. Olamide Zacchaeus. I mean, it's pretty much just Burden, Odunze, and more, to be honest. That's plenty enough for a guy like Caleb Williams, who obviously is the key part of this whole thing. He is their franchise quarterback. He is their QB of the future. They did not set him up for success at all last year, and I think they're finally going in that direction and setting him up for success, and I think you'll actually see the results come this season. Now, looking at the defense much better than the offense last year. They were around middle of the league in terms of at least like points allowed. And they got better because you bring in Grady Jarrett, Odeyingbo, Shamar Turner to replace a bunch of just okay players on the D-line. And then the secondary, which was very good last year, stays the same. Looking at the pass rushers, you do have Montez Sweat, who when they traded for him from Washington halfway through the season, he had, in the 9 games he played with the Bears, I think he had 6.5 sacks or 6 sacks, something like that, and it ended the season with like 12.5. But last year he only had 5.5 in the whole season, so a little bit of a down year for Montez Sweat. Maybe with a little bit of improvement around him, of players around him, you could see him go back up to what he was when the Bears traded for him and those games that he played last year or 2 years ago. He is 28, so maybe he's just on the downturn, but I still think Montez Sweat could go back to that like double-digit sack production. Javon Dexter, second-round pick 2 years ago, he's been solid for him. Austin Booker, who they got out of Kansas, we'll see what he gives them. Their linebackers, I mean, TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, not much to really say. Probably arguably the best linebacker duo in all of football. It's up there for sure. Both 100-plus tackles. They get sacks. They get pass deflections. They stop the run. I don't know if there is a linebacker duo. Because now that, Greenlaw and Fred Warner, they were up there, if not the best, they're no longer together. You could argue it's the Bears. And then looking at their secondary, I mean, Jalen Johnson, one of the best corners in the league. You know what you're going to get out of Jalen Johnson. He was a Pro Bowler last year. Kyler Gordon, I really like Kyler Gordon out of, I believe, Washington. Kevin Byard, he's on the older side, more of a veteran in that secondary room. Coming over from the Eagles, he's been okay for him. Not like insane stats out of Kevin Byard, but not bad for a older safety. You got Jaquan Brisker next to him, another young guy for them I really like. Jonathan Owens has played very well for them. Tyreek Stevenson, I know he had the whole moment with the Hail Mary, but last year he was actually very good, despite what happened against Washington. And one thing I like about the secondary is pretty much everyone that's like a starter is like 24 to 25 years old outside of Kevin Byard. And they were above average in pass yards allowed, and they allowed the fewest passing touchdowns. That's not all the secondary, but it's pretty much the secondary when looking at like passing yards and passing touchdowns allowed. And they were one of the better secondaries regarding that. So, and they're a young secondary, they should get better. I mean, the Bears have had very good defenses historically and recently, so I expect nothing more. It's really their offense that can really determine where this team goes next year. Quick look at their special teams. Cairo Santos has been a very consistent veteran kicker for him. And then Torrey Taylor, who they took in the 4th round last year out of Iowa. I mean, he was the best offensive player for Iowa in college. And you could argue he was the best offensive player for the Bears last year. One of the best punters already. So, should be a very good special teams unit. Now, going to their prediction, or their floor, ceiling, and prediction. Initially, looking at the schedule, obviously it's going to be a tough schedule just because they're in the NFC North playing the Vikings, Lions, and Packers twice. But you also have to play the AFC North, which includes the Ravens and the Bengals. You got the Eagles on your schedule, the Commanders as well, and the Cowboys. You have to play the NFC East. And not to mention the Niners are also there. So it's a very tough schedule, which could limit their ceiling and limit their floor and ceiling and overall prediction. But I think this Bears team is capable of winning games in this schedule. They could have a high variance in floor and ceiling just because of how tough their schedule is. But I think they can beat the Giants. I think they can beat the Raiders, the Browns, the Saints. That's already 4 games. Now, Aaron Rodgers is on the Steelers, so they're a little bit of an improved team just off of that. Even though I think they can possibly beat the Steelers. And I think, despite it being a very good division, I think they could get a game or two in their division, bare minimum. So my floor for the Bears is at 6-11. It's just schedule dependent. Like, they're a good team, and I think they will play well. That schedule is just going to be really tough for them. Similar to the Giants. Like, I like what the Giants did in the offseason, but their schedule is insane. Bears not as insane, and they're a better team than the Giants. So floor is 6-11. But I think games that you could see going their way, Raiders, Bengals, maybe the Niners, and then the Steelers, the Cowboys, maybe a little even more division games. I think they have a decent ceiling. My ceiling for them is 11-6, which would lead my total prediction to either 8 wins or 9 wins. And I'm going to go in the positive direction. I'm going to go 9-8 as my final prediction for the Bears. You saw what Caleb Williams could do in a very bad system around him, and now he has a very good system around him. And the talent is clearly there, and I think he can maximize the system around him. And I think the Bears could be set up for a very good year 2 under the Caleb Williams era and year 1 under the Ben Johnson era. That will conclude our preview for the Bears. Let me know your thoughts on the Bears season in the comments section below. And also let me know what team you want to see next. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. And if you're new, subscribe. At 500 subscribers, I will be doing a face reveal so you can see who's behind this channel. So if you want to see what I look like, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.